Well, it's 5:15 on Wednesday the 15th of May now. By the time you see this video, this will be as part 4 of the breeding project so far. I think I'd probably kind of envisaged that part 4 of the video would include something like the fry's eggs, or the eggs starting to develop the eyes of the fry inside them or something. Not that we'd still be waiting for fish to spawn. But as it is, well, it is what it is, and that's where we are at the moment. If you watched part 3 of the video earlier, which included last night's inaction, you know that I added chagoe to the pond, a male chagoe to the tank earlier. A fish that had been bred, we've had here for a long while. It was bred by Maurice Cox at Koi UK down in Somerset. I don't know if I'm clinging on to any optimistic ideas at the moment, but there's been a significant amount of interaction between all the 3 fish this afternoon, in and out of the spawning ropes, mouthing the spawning ropes. No real proper suggestion of fish chasing each other at this moment, but still early for these 3 fish. Another thing that I'm clinging on to is the fact that I belong to a fisheries management group on Facebook, where somebody's asked the question about fish spawning naturally in the wild, and there seems to be lots of reports around the UK at the moment of fish starting to spawn in lakes naturally, or carp starting to spawn in lakes naturally. So, hey, got to keep positive. 2 nights of no sleep so far, and I don't really want to risk falling asleep tonight too much, because once they start spawning, or if they start spawning properly, then the plan is that the chagoe will be removed as long as I can see that the Benikika-Kuryu, the male Benikika-Kuryu, is taking part in the spawning. So I'm going to be on the ball tonight, because I really don't want a load of eggs fertilised by the chagoe, which I'm not sure are going to give me any value. Despite the fact my good buddy Jeroen Makulen over in Holland suggesting that I become a Deutz Achiever breeder, Deutz Metallic Achiever breeder. That's not really in the game at the moment, but we'll see what happens. And as I say, got to keep smiling, keep positive, and see what happens. It's 6 PM. Finally starting to see the sort of action that I've been hoping to see for the last 3 nights now. Tank starting to come into shadow, and there's some proper pursuit of the female going on in the tank now. This can happen many hours before actual spawning starts taking place. However, of course, it's better to see it than not to see it at all. So it's a little bit like Groundhog Day. It's 8:30 PM on the 3rd night waiting for the koi to spawn. Obviously you've seen the changes that made today, the addition of the Chagaway to the spawning set, albeit on a temporary basis. Well, I want to be optimistic and say it seems to have made a difference and he seems to be in the mood. The signs are very much that he's being much more aggressive with the female than the small male ever did, or ever was. So let's hope that's a good sign. As to when, as always, on Monday I said it wouldn't be long, on Tuesday I said I felt confident it wouldn't be long. So I'm not going to make any predictions this evening. Let's just hope that sometime this evening the parents start spawning. And when I'm confident that the small male's involved, then I'll move the Chagaway out and just leave the two Benikiko Kuryu on their own. That's the plan anyway. It's all very much dependent on the Chagaway, the small Benikiko Kuryu being involved in the spawning, assuming they spawn. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. It's around 10:30 now, and I'm really pleased to say that I've just heard the first proper splash come from the koi in the tank behind me. Anybody who's spawned fish or been around fish when they're spawning will know the distinctive sound that they make as they sort of fight across the surface with their bodies next to each other. The repetitive splash splash as they go through the spawning ropes. So that's about 5 minutes ago. I've been here since about 10 o'clock. And there's very, very heightened activity in the tank. So I had a hunch it was coming. So just need to wait and see how that develops over the next 30 minutes or so. The little males very much in the mix. Trouble with the Chagaway is so difficult to see in the dark compared to the other two koi. So keep an eye on them. I haven't looked closely to see whether any eggs have been released yet. So we'll just wait and see for that to happen a second or third time before we start turning the torch on or see if we can spot some legs. So good signs. Hopefully it's the start of things to come for the rest of the night. So as you can see from those little clips, definite signs of action starting in the tank. Still no more proper the flashes and splashes that you see when they start to release eggs, but I'm sure that's just a matter of time now as they pursue each other around. So fingers crossed that within an hour or so there'll be a proper update. It's midnight for the last couple of hours. The guy been on and off, not really going for it, but chasing around and occasionally in the stop start. I decided to pop the spray back on, put a bit of cooler water in. The water was warmer today because I hadn't got any fresh water running. It was about 22.5 degrees last time I checked, which was a few hours ago. I have to say, turning the water on, they really seem to spur them up and perk them up into action a little bit. The small male also been involved with chasing around as much as the Chagway really, which is very pleasing. It's 2:30 AM. The night's going surprisingly quickly, to be honest, considering I've been sat in the koi house here since 10, just observing the koi. The reason I feel the need to observe them so much tonight is because I want to know when the Chagway gets involved with the spawning and how much is involved. So I say I know when, because I want to take him out once things get going. The good news is I really feel that it's about to get going any time now. There's some real good action going on in the tank. Real good chases with all three fish involved. So I'm hopeful that very soon we'll be at the point where they're actually spawning, she's releasing eggs, and then a point where I'll take that Chagway out to the other side of the net. He's got plenty of room to swim around in the tank outside of the net, and then just leave the two Benecucca Curlew to carry on and do what they do. So I'm going to finish drinking another cup of coffee, which is keeping me going, and hopefully that will start very soon. It's 5 a.m. and an hour and 20 minutes ago I was 100% convinced that at this point in time spawning will be in full flow, and yeah, and that would be that. There was a whole or a short burst of a proper spawning activity about 20 to 4, and then it just seemed to, well, they just died to nothing really. They continued to chase around a little bit, but what I expected to happen thereafter just hasn't materialised. So I think we're kind of at the end of the road with this set at the moment. I shall give them a few more hours this morning before separating up and breaking down. The females that have gone into the pond outside will probably come inside or back inside to protect them from the males that are out in the pond. There is always a risk, or ever increasing risk for them outside of being spawned naturally in the pond there, and it's probable that I want to use one of those females as a parent now instead of the big Marasaka female that's in here now. So that's kind of where we are, and having sat here for 7 hours this evening, or 7 hours through the night, just very slightly despondent, shall we say. But there we are, that's it. That's where we're at the moment. It's 6 a.m. and it looks like at long last we're in action. Several times now the fish have come together. If you've seen koi spawning, as I hope you're going to see soon, but I'll show you later in this video, they've carried out the action as they sort of rub their bodies against one another over the spawning ropes. I can't see that she's released eggs yet, but it's looking promising. You can see maybe in the net what I've done. I've actually dropped the water level a few inches, and I've got the spray of water going on as well. Water stayed about 22.5 degrees overnight, so maybe just a little dropping level plus maybe a tiny drop in water temperature, and the spray of the water will act as the trigger that they need to do what I've suspected they were going to be doing for a couple of hours now. So fingers crossed we're in action. There we go. It's just past 9 a.m. now, and this set of koi in the net behind me continue to confuse and mystify me a little bit. For the first sort of sign at 10 o'clock last night they might spawn, then definite signs that just after 3, then 6, and now they've completely stopped again for no apparent reason. So I'm kind of Not entirely sure what I'm going to do at the moment. I think the idea is in my head to leave these guys until midday, leave them undisturbed, and then just see what happens. But very much I'm thinking time for this female to be given a break. Maybe we'll bring a smaller female in from the pond outside, put her with the Marasaka male and see if anything transpires, and if not, give it all a rest for a week or so, wait till the weather conditions change perhaps, and try again. So we've reached midday on Thursday and decided it's time to ring the changes a little bit, despite obvious encouragement by the males last night. The females seemingly not going to release her eggs at this stage, so I've decided to change the female, and we've seen a little while the female I've changed her for, little Deutz Harawaki from Aoki. Very nice fish, very nice fish. So that's going in with the male from Marasaka, the male Benikika Kiryu, which I've just checked and still, I'll show you in a little while in the video, still got plenty of sperm flowing very freely. The gill covers, the pectoral fins are as rough as anything, so he's still in the mood. And the Chagoi, on this occasion I've decided to move the Chagoi to the other side of the net, so it's still in the tank, so still can get its hormones out into the water, but just can't get to the female to contribute anything to the spawning. She's a younger, smaller fish, so probably, or definitely less potential eggs than the other female, so I don't really want to risk wasting them to a Chagoi sperm. So that's it, that's where we're at. Okay, so the male fish, which you've seen plenty of on video already, just want to check that it's still horny. And so if I check the gill covers and the pectoral fins, then they really are rough as sandpaper. So I'm just going to check the vent and check the sperm in it. So through the vent here, the sperm very freely coming from it. So I'm happy that, hey, he's still in the mood. So he can go back in the tank, and then we'll take a look at the female, which I'm going to put with him. Both small fish, but hey, I'm not particularly bothered about a huge spawning, as I said back at the beginning. So hopefully these two will find some compatibility and get something going this evening. Okay, this is the female I'm going to go with. This is Deutz Harawaki, kind of. Bred by Aoki Koi Farm. Aokia. Just noticed something I've never noticed on this fish before, and so it's just coming now from the outside pond. It's actually got some coloration to the Deutz scales along its back. I actually bought this fish thinking it was likely to be a male. Unfortunately as it may turn out, it's turned out to be female, and it's got beautiful luster, and I really fancied using this as the female parent. I just decided that the obvious choice was to use the bigger Marasaka fish. So I'm not disappointed to be using this as a parent, or trying this as a parent, and just hope it does the job.